Bianca Ojukwu in tears as she was disgraced the moment she begged Simon Ekpa after betraying him. Bianca Ojukwu traveled all the way to Finland to see Simon Ekpa, but she was disgraced by Biafrans in Finland. Biafrans has finally gotten the truth about Simon Ekpa arrest in Finland, and all finger points at Bianca Ojukwu, the widow wife of late Biafran warlord General Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. Her name has remained in the mouth of Biafrans as the plotter of Simon Ekpa arrest, so as to stop Biafra independent declaration. Bianca Ojukwu, widow of late Odumegwu Ojukwu, is accused of betraying the Biafran cause. Critics claim she played a role in the arrest of Simon Ekpa, a prominent Biafra agitator in Finland. Bianca Ojukwu's appointment as a minister in Bola Tinubu's government is seen by some Biafran supporters as a move to undermine their movement. This appointment is alleged to have led to the arrest of Simon Ekpa within 2 weeks. Simon Ekpa is a vocal supporter of Biafra, defending its people against alleged Nigerian military oppression. His actions have led to multiple petitions against him by the Nigerian government to Finnish authorities. Despite Nigerian government efforts to label Simon Ekpa as a terrorist, Finnish authorities have found no substantial evidence against him and continue their investigation. Allegations are made against the Nigerian government for using divide-and-rule strategies to weaken Biafran unity, including exploiting internal divisions and employing figures like Bianca Ojukwu to disrupt the movement. Many Biafrans view Nigerian political leaders as complicit in the marginalization and oppression of their people, prompting calls for sovereignty. Biafrans' determination to achieve independence also highlights their frustration with ongoing disunity and betrayal within their ranks. Biafra was redeclared on December 29, 2024, though this action faces criticism and controversy within the movement. Biafran supporters demand global acknowledgement of the genocide committed against them during the Nigerian Civil War and advocate for justice. There are calls for Biafrans to rise above internal conflicts, resist external manipulation, and focus on their collective goal of independence. You know, it's funny how things turn out sometimes. Just a few weeks ago, many of us were talking about the rumors swirling around Bianca Ojukwu, the widow of the late General Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, and her alleged involvement in the arrest of Simon Ekpa, a prominent figure in the Biafran independence movement. It was all just speculation at first, with people on the internet debating and throwing around accusations. At that time, I really thought it was just one of those wild conspiracy theories that you hear about, the kind that always seem too outlandish to be true. But as time went on, events started unfolding in a way that made it seem like those rumors weren't so far-fetched after all. For those who don't know, Simon Ekpa is a strong voice for Biafra, an area in southeastern Nigeria. He's been very vocal about seeking independence for the region, and he's been critical of the Nigerian government's treatment of the people from that part of the country. His views have gained him both supporters and enemies, the latter mainly coming from the Nigerian government and anyone who sees his movement as a threat to Nigeria's unity. Now, what really started making people suspicious about Bianca Ojukwu's involvement was the timing. Simon Ekpa had been on the radar of the Nigerian government for a long time. Now that move caught everyone's attention. You see, the late General Ojukwu had been the leader of the Biafran secession during the Nigerian Civil War, also known as the Biafran War, which happened in the late 1960s. His efforts to form an independent Biafran state had ended in failure, and he passed away in 2011. Bianca, his wife, was seen as a figure of great respect by the Biafran people, and for many, her position in the government was seen as a kind of betrayal. After all, here was the widow of the man who had fought for Biafran independence, and now she was sitting in the government of the very country that had opposed that independence. When Bianca was appointed as a minister, A lot of people thought that she would take a stand for Biafran independence, that she would somehow push for the cause that her late husband had given his life to. But the reality was very different. Instead of becoming a champion for the Biafran cause, she seemed to have accepted her position in the Nigerian government, which caused a stir among Biafran supporters. Many were heartbroken, wondering how she could work within a government that was seen as oppressive to the people of Biafra. Soon after Bianca's appointment, Simon Ekpa was arrested in Finland, a country that had long been a safe haven for him. He had been a thorn in the side of the Nigerian government for years, constantly pushing for the recognition of Biafran independence and speaking out against the oppression faced by his people. His arrest came just 2 weeks after Bianca's appointment, and it was this timing that led many to believe that she was somehow involved in his downfall. People started to say that Bianca had played a key role in his arrest, perhaps even masterminding it, to put an end to the Biafran independence movement once and for all. At first, these were just rumors. There were many who dismissed the idea as nonsense, saying that Bianca had no involvement in the arrest of Simon Ekpa. But as the weeks passed, the whispers grew louder, and more people began to believe that there might be some truth to the accusations. What really sealed it for a lot of people was when Bianca herself traveled to Finland to speak with Simon Ekpa directly. Many expected her to stand firm in her position as a representative of the Biafran people, but what they saw was something entirely different. When Bianca arrived in Finland, she was met with anger and distrust by the Biafran community there. They saw her as a traitor, someone who had abandoned their cause for personal gain. It was a scene that none of us could have predicted. Bianca, the widow of the man who had fought so hard for Biafran independence, was now pleading with Simon Ekpa, asking for forgiveness. In the video footage that was shared online, you could see the distress on her face as she tried to explain herself. She was clearly in tears, begging the Biafran people to understand that she had been misunderstood, that her actions weren't as they appeared. But the crowd wasn't having any of it. They were furious. The Biafran community in Finland had been waiting for this moment, and when it came, they didn't hold back. They accused Bianca of betraying the very cause that her husband had fought and died for. They called her out for accepting a ministerial position in a government that had long been seen as an enemy to the Biafran people. For them, it wasn't just about politics. It was about the memory of General Ojukwu, and how his widow had chosen to honor that memory by aligning herself with those who had fought against the Biafran cause. As Bianca stood there, surrounded by a sea of angry Biafran supporters, you could feel the weight of history bearing down on her. The ghost of her late husband seemed to hang over the scene, as if his legacy was now being questioned in the harshest of ways. The tears streaming down Bianca's face spoke volumes, but it was clear that the Biafran people had already made up their minds. They saw her as a traitor, and no amount of pleading or apologies would change that. The arrest of Simon Ekpa was seen as a major blow to the Biafran independence movement, but the events surrounding it also revealed deep divisions within the Biafran community itself. While some people were quick to point fingers at Bianca, others believed that her actions were a result of pressure from the Nigerian government and that she was simply trying to protect herself and her family in the face of overwhelming political forces. Still, the damage had been done. Bianca had become the face of betrayal for many Biafran supporters, and her reputation among them was irreparably tarnished. The entire situation raised some uncomfortable questions about the future of the Biafran cause. Could Biafran independence still be achieved in the face of such internal divisions? Was there any hope for unity when figures like Bianca, who were once seen as symbols of Biafran pride, were now being cast aside as enemies of the movement? The truth was, no one seemed to have the answers, and it felt like the Biafran dream was slipping further and further away with each passing day. Yet, even in the face of such betrayal and division, there remained a core group of Biafran supporters who were determined to continue the fight. They believed that the struggle for Biafran independence was bigger than any one individual, and that the cause would live on no matter what happened to people like Bianca Ojukwu. For them, the spirit of General Ojukwu and the sacrifices of all those who had fought in the Biafran War were far too important to be forgotten. They were not willing to let the political maneuverings of the Nigerian government and its allies tear apart the vision of a free and independent Biafra. In the aftermath of Simon Ekpa's arrest and Bianca Ojukwu's disgrace, the Biafran people were left to pick up the pieces of their fractured movement. Some called for unity, urging all Biafrans to rise above the divisions that had emerged and focus on the larger goal of independence. Others were more cynical, believing that the whole movement had been infiltrated and corrupted by outside forces, including the Nigerian government, which had long used divide-and-rule tactics to weaken the Biafran cause. The struggle for Biafran independence is far from over, but the events of the past few weeks have shown just how complicated and volatile that struggle can be. What started as a movement for self-determination has become a battleground for power, loyalty, and the fight for political survival. As the Biafran people continue to grapple with their internal conflicts, one thing is clear. The road to independence will be long, and it will be marked by betrayal, hardship, and struggle. But for those who still believe in the cause, the fight is worth it. They know that the dream of a free Biafra will not die easily, and they will continue to fight for it, no matter the cost.
We are not going to retreat, not one iota, not one inch, because Biafra must come. Because the hatred have continued to this very day. As I'm speaking and addressing all of you right now, they are still arresting extrajudicially murdering people in our land, people who are alien to our culture, our way of life, our tradition. They are in our land directing their people to slaughter, to kill without mercy. Unfortunately, those we regard as political leaders have connived with these people to ensure the decimation of their own population. That is the type of nonsense we can no longer condone. As you all know, there is no significant Fulani presence in our land because our fathers taught us how to fight. And we are doing so today without apologies to any idiot. We're not going to apologize because we have been apologizing for nearly 50 years. And we have not gotten anywhere in terms of our collective advancement and development in the damn level zoological republic called Nigeria. That is why we must know what we're doing, and that is why anybody who is remotely interested in the affairs of our people must understand this, that we are determined, doubly determined. 50 years, or should I say 54 years, is a very long time, and 51 years since the end of the war. But now that we have come, or should I say now that God Almighty in heaven has determined that we should come, we are not going to relent. We are not going to do anything whatsoever to jeopardize the sanctity and the holiness of this very mission. We love our people. We love every ethnic nationality that makes up Nigeria as it is presently constituted. We have no hatred towards anybody. We love peace. We love life. We love the progress of other people. But we are in a country where people hate us for no reason, where people despise us for no reason, and we can no longer go on apologizing. And Nigeria as a state, the entire Africa as a continent must acknowledge. The same way they acknowledge the genocide in Rwanda, they must rise up to acknowledge the genocide in Biafra, or else there will be no peace nor development in the whole of Africa. And I'm not saying it apologetically. I am stating a fact that ought to be forcefully demanded for. And Biafra itself must be restored for those who have come before us, for their sacrifice, for their courage, for their gallantry and their bravery. It is a very good thing today that one of the co-hosts here is our brother Dele, a man that I cherish and I appreciate very much, and also the very excellent work that Mazi is doing. But let us make this thing very, very clear. We are wronged by the Nigerian state, by every ethnic group in Nigeria. I know.
What a wonderful question, the anchor of this platform. first and foremost, I want to say someone has come out to say, or has outlined countless times that he said that the Nigerian government cannot win Biafra with a barrel of gun for the second time. Now when he said that, see, Nigerian government cannot win Biafra with a barrel of gun, it means that nobody needs to die for them to exit Nigeria. Now, Ojukwu fought Biafra in a different dimension. Now, nnamdikanu did it via his own dimension. So ECPA is taking it globally. And now, we've seen world body recognize Biafra. We've seen the UN and then some other global body have come out to endorse the Biafra struggle. So kudos to him, it is a plus. Some persons have come out to say that Samonekpa should be discredited, the likes of Ohanezendigbo and that of the Southeastern governors. But my question is that you said Samonekpa should not be taken serious. Then who should be taken serious? The government who is not willing to protect our people? Is it the people who have refused to speak up when the Igbo man has been marginalized in the country? Is it the same governors who have become a tools in the hands of their Fulani master? So for you to even have a character like Samonekpa and nnamdikanu to have come out to say enough is enough, that we are tired of this contraption called one Nigerians. It shows that these people have this mindset that, see, they can no longer be the slave. So for him to have even gone as far as to hire lobbyists that will speak on behalf of Biafra in the world in the UN summit, to me it's a plus, and that alone, the voice of Biafrans will be heard globally, and the voice of an Igbo man is also being heard globally. Now let me take it back the line. When Southern Sudan and South Sudan wanted parted ways, nobody killed each other. Nobody go through the route of violence. It was done amicably. So Samonekpa is doing it amicably for him to convince world leaders that this thing is possible. And when the government of the day, the present government of Nigeria, are not seeing it that way. Thank you. You can also to the government, to the Nigerian government, be worried about it. Why would they be worried? The same people have sent assassins to kill Samonekpa. Now only he has escaped. So see, one thing about it is that the government of the day, they are panicking. There's panic. You know what it is now? So a particular tribe or a major tribe to exit your country. You know how an Igbo man is. You know the investment of an Igbo man is in the country. Now imagine in Nigeria without an Igbo man. Let's just imagine that. I mean, dominance. That means the outside man would now dominate virtually every government parastatals in Nigeria. So now the reason why the Igbo man is still believe that's Nigeria is because the Igbo man is still in the contraption called Nigeria. But eventually, if the Igbo man leaves, my brother, the Igbo man will know the true meaning of Nigeria, and then we now know who owns Nigeria. Just like what Angwabula said, he said they are not scared of the Igbos parting, exiting Nigerians. That was what he said. He said they are not scared. Indirectly, that means the other tribe would not have sense of belonging in the country. And we know it. I know it too. And every man now has the spirit of dominance. You cannot dominate him. If a Fulani man has the spirit of dominance, for you to dominate him, it will take ages. in terms of population, you cannot dominate them. So one thing is that Ojukwu foreseen this whole thing. That was why he championed this Biafra struggle, and now gradually it is now becoming a reality in this contraction called Nigeria. Now there are some Igbo men are even tired of the system called Nigeria, just because they feel their brother is still in president. Man, my brother, I can bet you, come 2027, the Yorubas will be championing the Oduduwa Republic more than the Igbo man. I can bet you that. That I am very certain of. Yes, we will championing because it is certain when their president, when their brother is being kicked away from the presidency, already there is a plot, and which he himself cannot escape. The president himself knows that there is a plot, and then the big shots in the north are forming alliance. You know it. RFI, a powerful influence in the north, is not in the league. Sorry, is not in good terms with the president. And now nobody can take that factor. What RFI did, or see that made President Tinubu emerge as the president via his own influence. And then we have also the likes of Mbah, which is the chairman of the Northern Order Forum. He said post that election that the Northern Order Forum supported Tinubu, but from 2027 Tinubu will not get their support. So what does that mean? Now if the average Northern person is not given the vote, now where will they get the vote? It should come by 2027. The same thing the Yorubas have tagged the Igbos for. Now they will be the mastermind of it, because I can bet you by 2027 Yoruba will stop. And that's the slogan that will continue to trend, is that we are tired of the country, we want to follow the suit of the Igbo man and exit the country. And then the Igbo man now will not take them, tag them for being unserious, because now that the Igbo man is championing for the exit, we are saying the Igbo man is not serious. There are claims that the Igbo man is not serious, but I can bet you when the system will not catch up with you, then you will know why the Igbo man has been championing to exit. Thank you for always coming.